I'm so glad you made it today. And of course, I have to remind you to come on in and get some books and get prizes if you've got summer reading logs or still sign up for some. Okay, and so we have a guest reader here today. Her name is Sarah. Can you guys say hi to Sarah? We're so glad she could come today, and we hope to see you guys next time too. We'll have another story time next Thursday, 10 a.m.
All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. So first book we're going to read is Tacky the Penguin. I know that's kind of a weird choice given that it's July and, penguins live in the very cold parts of the world, but we're going to go for it even though it's July here. All right. So, Tacky the Penguin. There once lived a penguin. His home was a nice icy land that he shared with his companions. His companions were named Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. His name was Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird. Every day, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect greeted each other quietly and politely. Tacky greeted them with a hearty slap on the back and a loud, "What's happening?" Can you guys say that? Oh, that was good. That was good. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, they do that very well. Tacky always marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. His companions were graceful divers. Does anybody else here know how to dive? I know how to dive. Anybody else here? Oh yeah, we got some divers. Oh, that's so good. Tacky liked to do splashy cannonballs. Does anybody here do a cannonball? Oh yeah. All right, you guys know what to do with him, huh? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always sang pretty songs like Sunrise on the Iceberg. And Tacky always sang songs like How Many Toes Does a Fish Have? Tacky was an odd bird. One day the penguins heard the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. This could only mean one thing. Hunters had come. They came with maps and traps and rocks and locks, and they were rough and tough. And as the thump, thump, thump drew closer, the penguins could hear the growly voices chanting, "We're gonna catch some pretty penguins and we'll march 'em with the switch. And we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect ran away in fright. They hid behind a block of ice. Tacky, he stood alone. The hunters marched right up to him, chanting, "We're gonna catch some pretty penguins and we're gonna mark 'em with the switch and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." "What's happening?" blared Tacky, giving one hunter an especially hearty slap on the back. Can you guys do the "what's happening"? Oh, you gotta do it really scary though. Oh, that was good, you guys. I liked it. And the hunters growled, "We're hunting for penguins. That's what's happening." "Penguins?" said Tacky. "Do you mean those birds that march neatly in a row?" And he marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. The hunters looked confused. "Do you mean those birds that dive so gracefully?" Tacky asked. and he did his splashy cannonball. And the hunter, they looked wet. Do you mean those birds that sing such pretty songs? And Tacky began to sing, and from behind the block of ice came the voices of his companions, all singing as loudly and dreadfully as they could. How many toes does a fish have, and how many wings on a cow? I wonder, yep, I wonder. The hunters couldn't stand the horrible singing. This could not be the land of the pretty penguins. They ran away with their hands clasped tightly over their ears, leaving behind their maps and traps and rocks and locks, and not looking at all rough and tough. Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a very nice bird to have around. Well, I think we're going to talk about a little guy named Owen next. Does anybody know about Owen? You ever read Owen? Oh, he's a great little guy. Owen had a fuzzy yellow blanket. He'd had it since he was a baby, and he loved it with all his heart. Any of you guys have a blanket? Blanket? Yeah? Okay. Isn't he getting a little old to be carrying that thing around? Asked Mrs. Tweezers, the neighbor. Haven't you heard of the blanket fairy? Owen's parents hadn't. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. That night, Owen's parents told Owen to put Fuzzy under his pillow. In the morning, Fuzzy would be gone, but the blanket fairy would leave an absolutely wonderful, positively perfect, especially terrific big boy gift in its place. Owen stuffed Fuzzy inside his pajama pants and went to sleep. Owen's a smart guy. No blanket fairy, said Owen in the morning. No kidding, said Owen's mother. No wonder, said Owen's father. He's showing his mom and dad what he did. Fuzzy's dirty, said Owen's mother. Fuzzy is torn and ratty, said Owen's father. No, said Owen. Fuzzy is perfect. And Fuzzy was. And Fuzzy was essential when it came to nail clippings, haircuts, and trip to the dentist. You can't be a baby forever, says Mrs. Tweezer. Haven't you ever heard of the vinegar trick? Owen's parents hadn't. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. When Owen wasn't looking, his father dipped Owen's favorite corner of Fuzzy into a jar of vinegar. Do you guys know what vinegar is? Yeah, we cook with it, and in stuff it tastes good, but if you just eat it alone, it's very sharp, and it doesn't taste very good. Owen sniffed it, and smelled it, and sniffed it again. He picked a new favorite corner. Then he rubbed the smelly corner all around his sandbox, buried it in the garden, and dug it up again. Good as new, said Owen. Fuzzy wasn't very fuzzy anymore, but, Owen didn't mind. He carried Fuzzy, and he wore it, and he dragged it around, he sucked it, and hugged it, and twisted it. What are we going to do? Asked Owen's mother. School is starting soon, said Owen's father. You can't bring a blanket to school, said Mrs. Tweezers. Haven't you heard of saying no? Owen's parents hadn't. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. I have to bring Fuzzy to school, said Owen. No, said Owen's mother. No, said Owen's father. Owen buried his face in Fuzzy, and he started to cry and would not stop. Don't worry, said Owen's mother. It'll be all right, said Owen's father. And then suddenly Owen's mother said, I have an idea. It was absolutely wonderful, positively perfect, especially terrific idea. First, she snipped. Then she sewed. Then she snipped again and sewed some more. Snip, 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 sew, sew, sew. Dry your eyes, wipe your nose. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Now, Owen carries one of his not-so-fuzzy handkerchiefs with him wherever he goes. And Mrs. Tweezers doesn't say a thing. Okay. All right. I will never, not ever, eat a tomato. Oh, the pages. I have this little sister, Lola. She's small and very funny. Sometimes I have to keep an eye on her. Sometimes Mum and Dad ask me to give Lola her dinner. This is difficult because she is a very fussy eater. Lola won't eat carrots, of course. She says carrots are for rabbits. I say, what about peas? Lola says, peas are too small and too green. One day I played a good trick on her. Lola was sitting at the table waiting for her dinner, and she said, I do not eat peas or carrots or potatoes or mushrooms or spaghetti or eggs or sausages. I do not eat cauliflower or cabbage or baked beans or bananas or oranges, and I am not fond of apples or rice or cheese or fish sticks. And I absolutely will never, not ever, eat a tomato. My sister hates tomatoes. And I said, well, that's lucky, because we're not having any of those things. We're not going to eat any peas or carrots or tomatoes, or potatoes or mushrooms or spaghetti or eggs or sausages. There'll be no cauliflower, cabbage, or baked beans or bananas or oranges. We don't have any apples, rice, cheese, fish sticks, and certainly no tomatoes. Lola looked at the table. Then why are those carrots there, Charlie? I don't ever eat carrots. And I said, oh, you think these are carrots? These are not carrots. These are orange twiglets from Jupiter. They look just like carrots to me, said Lola, but how can they be carrots? I said, carrots don't grow on Jupiter. Well, that's true, said Lola. I might try just one, if they're all the way from Jupiter. Not bad, she said, and took another bite. Then Lola saw some peas. I don't eat peas, said Lola, and I said, these are not peas. Of course they are not. These are green drops from Greenland. They are made out of green and fall from the sky. But I don't eat green things, Lola said. Oh, well, goody, I said. I'll have your share. Green drops are so incredibly rare. Well, maybe I'll nibble just one or two. Oh, said Lola, they're quite tasty. Next, Lola saw the potato. I will not eat potato, so don't even try. Not even mashed. Oh, this isn't mashed potato. People often think that, but no. This is cloud fluff from the pointiest peak of Mount Fuji. Oh, said Lola. In that case, a large helping for me. I love to eat cloud. Charlie, she said, those look like fish sticks to me, and I would never eat a fish stick. I know that. These are not fish sticks. These are ocean niblets from the supermarket. Under the sea, the mermaids eat them all the time. Oh, I went to that supermarket one time with Mom. Yes, I know the ones. I think I've had them before. Are there any more? Lola said, gobbling them up. And then she said, Charlie, would you pass me one of those? And I said, what? One of those? And Lola said, yes, Charlie, one of those. And I frankly couldn't believe my eyes, because guess what she was pointing at? The tomatoes. And I said, are you sure? Really? One of these? And she said, yes, of course. Moon squirters are my favorites. You didn't think that they were tomatoes, did you, Charlie? That's a brother who knows what he's doing, I think. A long time. This is about Mr. McGee and the biting flea. Mr. McGee went out to play down to the beach on a windy day. Mr. McGee was running along, flying his kite and singing a song. Just then a dog came racing by, frightening the birds up into the sky. Mr. McGee was having fun, flying his kite up close to the sun. When jumping and leaping, the dog joined in, chasing the kite and making a din. What's the dog doing? And what noise is he making? Oh, yeah. Mr. McGee was holding on tight until suddenly he felt a bite. That was when he let go of the kite. Up it went, right out of sight. "Oh!" cried Mr. McGee. "Something bad is biting me." It wasn't a fly. It wasn't a bee. It was as small could be. So small, it was too small to see. It was, jumping, biting flea. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. He twisted, he turned, he writhed and he squirmed. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. Let's hear it. Nice, you guys. Where is that flea that's biting me? See? I tried his sock. He fell down the leg of his pants. He's looking in his coat. Oh, he took his coat off now because he's just so uncomfortable. He squawked and he squealed. He rocked and he reeled. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. Let's hear it. He jumped and he jiggled. He wobbled and wiggled. Look, now he's taking his shoes off. Oh, and he's got bites all over his arm now. That flea is getting him good. He threw his shoe off now. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. Let's hear it. Nice job. It bit him here. It bit him there. It bit him simply everywhere. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. See him hopping all around? Now he's howling on the ground, but still that flea cannot be found. Oh no, his shirt is off. Now he's taking his pants off because he can't find it. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. Ah, now he's got it. Wait and see. Has he caught that pesky flea? "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" cried Mr. McGee. Let's hear it. Oh man, he took his hat off. Now he's in his underpants and his undershirt. What is he going to do? "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" Together. "Ooh! Ow! Ee!" Oh no, poor Mr. McGee he's running naked down the beach now. That would be so embarrassing. And with one mighty jump, he jumped into the sea. That was when the flea jumped free. Oh me, sang Mr. McGee. It happened that the flea didn't like the sea. It landed in the hair of the dog that was there. Oh! Ow! Ee! All right. Junie was hot. Jakey was hot. Even the baby was hot. "Let's go to the lake," Junie and Jakey said. Go, said the baby. Oh dear, said Papa. I don't know if we can make it in our rattle-trap car. It doesn't go fast and it doesn't go far. Please, 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 cried Junie and Jakey. Go, cried the baby. All right, said Papa. We'll give it a try. Papa turned the key. Brum, 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 clickety-clankety, bing, bang, pop. They were off to the lake in the rattle-trap car. They didn't go fast and they didn't go far when, booms, the tire was flat. Never mind, said Junie. I know just what to do. She put her beach ball on the car and she stuck it on tight with chocolate marshmallow fudge delight. Papa turned the key. Brum, 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 brum. Lumpity-bumpity, clickety-clankety, bing, bang, pop. They were off to the lake in the rattle-trap car. They didn't go fast and they didn't go far when, whumpity-whomp, the floor fell out. That's something big. Never mind, said Jakey. I know just what to do. He put his surfboard on the car and he stuck it on tight with chocolate marshmallow fudge delight. Papa turned the key. Brum, 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 whappity-bappity, lumpity-bumpity, clickety-clankety, bing, bang, pop. They were off to the lake in the rattle-trap car, and they didn't go fast, and they didn't go far when, spitter, spitter, spot, the gas tank fell off. Never mind, Papa said. I know just what to do. He put that thermos full of razzleberry, dazzleberry, snazzleberry fizz on the car, and he stuck it on tight with chocolate marshmallow fudge delight. Papa turned the key. Brum, 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 brum. Fizzly, sizzly, whappity-bappity, lumpity-bumpity, clickety-clankety, bing, bang, pop. They were off to the lake in their rattle-trap car. They didn't go fast and they didn't go far when, thunk-a-da-thunk, the engine fell out. Oh dear, said Jakey. Oh dear, said Junie. Oh dear, said Papa. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There they sat by the side of the road, all broken down and hot, 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 almost to the lake in their rattle-trap car. You can just see it. It's right there. They're almost there. Junie shook her head. Jakey shook his head. Papa shook his head. The baby shook her 3-speed wind-up paddle wheel boat. Go, said the baby. Go, go, go. Do you think, said Junie, that it just, said Jakey, might work? Said Papa. Go, said the baby. So they took the baby's boat and put it on the car and stuck it on tight with chocolate marshmallow fudge delight. Papa turned the key. Brum, 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 brum. Flippity, flappity. Fizzly, sizzly, whappity, bappity, lumpity, bumpity, clickety, clankety, big bang, pop. They were off to the lake in their rattle-trap car. They didn't go fast, but they did go far. They made it to the lake in their rattle-trap car. Junie was cool, Jakey was cool, Papa and the baby were cool, cool, cool. All day long they were down at the lake till the sun went down, till the moon came up, and they went flippity-floppity, fizzly, sizzly, whappity-bappity, lumpity-bumpity, clickety-clankety, big bang, pop, all the way back home. The pumpkin soup story. Deep in the woods, there is an old white cabin with pumpkins in the garden. There's a good smell of soup, and at night, with any luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, and a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. Pumpkin soup, the best you've ever tasted. Made by the cat who slices up the pumpkin, made by the squirrel who stirs in the water, and made by the duck who scoops up a pimpkin of salt and tips in just enough. They slurp their soup and play their song, then pop off to bed in a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel, and filled with fine feathers from the duck. And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do, and everyone is happy. Well, or so it seems. But one morning, Duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. "Wouldn't it be fine," he murmured, "if I could be the head cook?" He drew up a stool, hopped up on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of that spoon. Ker-plunk! Down it clattered. Then the duck trotted back up to the bedroom, held up the spoon, and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." "That's mine!" squeaked the squirrel. "Stirring is my job. Give that back." "You're much too small," snapped the cat. "We'll cook the way we always have." But the duck held on tight until the squirrel tugged with all his might, and whoops, the spoon spun through the air and bopped the cat on the head. Then there was trouble, a horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. "I'm not staying here," wailed the duck. "You never let me help with anything." And he packed up a wheelbarrow, put on his hat, and waddled away. "You'll be back," stormed the cat, "after we've cleaned up." And the squirrel shook his spoon in the air, but the duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. "Oh, I'll go find him," scoffed the squirrel, or scoffed the cat. "He'll be hiding outside. I bet he's in the pumpkin patch." But the duck wasn't in the pumpkin patch. They couldn't find him anywhere. So they waited all that long afternoon. The cat watched the door. The squirrel paced the floor. "That duck will be so sorry when he comes home," they muttered. But the duck didn't come home, not even at soup time. The soup wasn't tasty. They'd made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper, and their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. "We should have let him stir the soup," snuffled the squirrel. "He was only trying to help," wept the cat. "Let's go and look for him." The cat and the squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark wood. They feared for the duck all alone with the trees and the foxes and the wolves and the witches and the bears, but they couldn't find him. On and on they trudged until they reached the edge of a steep, steep cliff. "Maybe he fell down the cliff," wailed the cat. "I'll save him," squealed the squirrel. And he scrambled down on a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Then the cat whispered in a sad little voice, "Duck might have found some better friends." "He might," sighed the squirrel. "Friends who let him help." And the more they thought about it as they plodded back, the more they were sure they were right. But when they were almost home, they saw light shining from the old white cabin. "It's Duck!" they shrieked as they burst through the door. And Duck was so happy to see them. He was also very hungry, and though it was late, they thought they would all make some pumpkin soup. When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word, not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slopped right out of the pot, not even when the pot got burnt. And then the duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the best you've ever tasted. So once again, it was peaceful in the old white cabin, until the duck said, "I think I'd like to play the bagpipes now." All right, well, thank you guys for being such good listeners.